Jai Shri Krishna to all and welcome to our weekly program, Freedom from Pains and Miseries to Happy, Healthy and Peaceful Life. And it is based on mainly on 108 mantras, and we take one mantra at a time. And today is our 5th series. And these 108 mantras came out of 700 verses from my question and God's answer, and basically it's from Bhagavad Gita. Pranam to Guruji. We are here together with his blessings and his guidance. I'm Satya Kalra, your host and founder of Path to Anandam, where we guide, we help other people how to be happy. And as I mentioned, today is the series number 5, Gateway to Divine Endurance. How to deal with grief in life. And we'll be speaking mainly about, I will be mentioning, we will be together contemplating on the verse 2. Chapter 2, verse 14. Knowing what is divine endurance. What does Krishna Bhagwan Ji means here? And how to develop it. How to have a discrimination. When to have endurance and when not to have endurance. And of course, tip of the day, practice and meditation. And we will start our program with the prayers. As we are all Arjuna, with God's blessings, we are all together here. And when we come to this session, I feel like I am zero at that point. And he's the one who makes all of us heroes. And heroes means he guides us what to do next. So we can effectively conduct our daily responsibilities. And some of them you might already remember this verse. If not, it will be very good to do it. But if it is difficult, don't worry about it. We will do it here. As long as the bhava is there to initiate ourselves and pray to Almighty. Karpanya dosho kahat swabhava paschyami tvam dharma samud cheta yache syani nityitam bruhitan me shishyaste aham chadimam tvam prapanyam shishyaste aham chadimam tvam prapanyam. Please guide us, help us to the next transformation in our life. And as it says, my heart is overpowered by the weakness of pity. I have lost all of my composure and my mind is confused about my duty, dharma, what to do and what not to do. I'm requesting you to tell me what is definitely good for me. I am your disciple. I surrender to you. Please instruct me. Here Arjuna has become the student and Lord Krishna has become the teacher. And he pours his blessing. Start pouring his blessing. But before we do that, we just want to understand what does Gita offers us. Because Lord Krishna, Arjuna's divine company, pours these blessings when Arjuna was in pieces and Lord Krishna was in peace. In fact, he's always in peace. His another name to me is Supreme Peace, Param Shanti. So Gita is the step-by-step spiritual guide, instructs us, or I will call it, it is an instruction manual for healthy, happy, and peaceful life, and take us beyond, realize who we are. We are Satchit Ananda. So Lord Krishna becomes the teacher, and he speaks about 500, actually 574 verses, starting from 200, chapter 211 verse, and all the way goes to chapter 18 with verse 66, where Arjuna says, Najo tasyati gobindam, I will not perform my duty, because he did not know whether it was his duty or he should just, it's a simple war, Kurukshetra. He did not know it was a Dharma Kshetra. And when Lord Krishna takes him step by step, and then he says, Karishe Vachanam Tav, I will do as you advise, through teaching him Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, how to move with your lower self, tamasic nature, to rajasic nature, to sattvic nature, and finally become gunati. And finally, Arjun realizes that he is a Atma. So that's why Gita is also called Atma Darshani. And first time when Arjuna says, Na jotasyati gobindam, why? Because his near and dear ones might be sacrificed, killed in this war, and he just did not want to get into that. He thought he might incur the sin, he will lose his family members. So that's where Lord Krishna starts with his first verse. And he tells him that you have to conduct this war because you are speaking like a Pandit, but you are not a Pandit, because the way you are speaking right now is, you sound like, which is called, in Hindi we call it like a mood. And he tells him, Ashochanya anvasochasvatam, pragyavadanscha bhashate, gatasunascha nanu shochanti pandita, that you grieve for those who should not be grieved for, and yet you speak the word of wisdom. The wise men grieve neither for the living and not for the dead. And Lord Arjuna gets even more confused now, that what is Lord Krishna saying it? And then Lord Krishna explains him that whoever is born is going to die, because Dahino asmin yatha dehe komaram yovnam zara tatha dehantar prapti dhiras tatra namuviti. Just as the living entity, Jiva Atma, continuously passes into this body from childhood to youth to old age during this lifetime, and finally they die. Similarly, Atma passes into another body, from one body to another body. And the wise are not confused by this. Again, he's reminding him, since you are confused, you are not wise. because who is born will die. This is a cycle. And Arjuna still does not understand. So Lord Krishna, then he takes him further because he's grieving and he's guiding him. And that's where our series 5 comes today. And the Gita's verse 2.14, or I would say chapter 2, verse 14 comes, where he again explains him that everything is in the world is temporary, whatever you see. And he says, Matra isparshastu konte, shitoshan sukh dukha, agma paino nitya, tanstiti shasva bharata, tanstiti shasva bharata. And he starts with Matra isparshaste. And Matra isparshaste means our sense organs and the object of the sense organs. What are our sense organs? Eyes, ears, nose, taste, and hands. And their objects are eyes can see, and I see, nose smells, ears hear, tongue taste and speaks, and hands we feel the touch. Why he says that? Because through these senses, we grieve, we conduct all of our daily activities, good and bad. And he's guiding him here that these are the senses which cause problems. And if we make the best use of them, then we go to the salvation. We hear judgments. We do judgments. We give judgments. When we see in other people's, we start judging them. So he explains here that contact with material objects will only give you the joy and sorrow, heat and cold. These are transitory. They appear and disappear. Agam paino nitya. They come and go. So endure them bravely, because senses are your gateways. Through senses, we do all kinds of things. So he says, learn to endure. And endure and tolerance, basically, it says interchangeable word, but with the tolerance, sometimes people get it as a negative connotation to it. So endurance, to me, endurance was more, it appeals to me more. So what it means? What is Lord Krishna trying to tell Arjuna here? Because Arjuna is seeing people, Lord Krishna now as a teacher. There is a duality, me and you. But he's trying to tell him, Lord Krishna is trying to take him there, motivate him, conduct this dharma kshetra, dharma yuddha. And he's trying to very first thing he wants to teach him to understand that you are not just the body, and what you are complaining about or what you are concerned about, your loved ones, they are not just the bodies, they are the atmas. So he's trying to take him from duality to non-duality, that we are all atmas, we are all one, but you are seeing them differently. But based on the even duality, he's trying to explain him that Matra sparshasте konte, agam paino nitya is all temporary. It all comes and goes as the birth and death. Body, mind, and senses and their objects, whatever you see, this body is temporary. and the senses and the mind who could drive us crazy, but at the same time, we can use it for our salvation. And whatever you touch, whatever you hear, whatever you feel, whatever you hear, it's all temporary in this world. So in other words, whatever we see in this prakriti, whatever we hear, it's all temporary. However, we have to experience that. And we experience, all of us experience it. All of as our possessions, our titles, our families, even our issues, they're all temporary, because over a period of time, we learn to deal with them. For example, if there is a loss of near and dear ones in the family or friends or whoever it is, we go through a very grieving period. But over a period of time, and especially with the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, it becomes easier and easier to deal with it. It's not that the grieving goes away, but we learn to grieve with it. Whatever titles we have, they're temporary. One day we have one title, other day might we have another title, and we have many other titles like mother, like CEO, like head of the department, VPs, or any title like brothers, sisters. All those titles are temporary. They come and go. Even, we can relate to it. To my biggest issue always is this technology changes. New software, new things come and get stuck. We have to learn again. So again, that's temporary. Similarly, he again gives the example that this heat and cold, and just like when there is a heat, there is a cold, something is hot. For example, if you put the water on the boil stove, it boils, it becomes hot. Similarly, the hot weather comes, but when we take the water down, eventually it becomes cold, and it comes to the original nature, which is water's cold nature. So the temporary situation of the water was only temporary, that heat. Similarly, hot weather comes, we enjoy it. Then cold weather comes, then we enjoy it because we are getting out of the hot weather. But if we go in the sun in hot weather, we don't enjoy it. When we come back inside, we are okay. So again, that is temporary. Similarly, when it is raining, we don't enjoy, or we might enjoy. But then the sunlight comes, then we enjoy. But in summer, if sun is too hot, we don't enjoy. So everything is temporary. Similarly, sukha dukkha, kabhi khushi, kabhi gum. We enjoy the happiness, the weddings, enjoy the getting the promotions for ourselves, for our children. We feel very good about it. But something happens which is not favorable to us. We feel very sad. But again, the cycle of this sukha and dukkha continues. Similarly, day and night, they come and go. Seasons come and go. So what is Lord Krishna is trying to say here? He's saying, you learn. Here he says, you learn to endure this. Then the question comes, how can we learn? Especially in difficult situations. And what does it mean? This endurance, tolerance, I call it Sahan Shakti. So what is endurance? What does endurance really mean? And I took it even from the Greek. The Greek has that philosophy. It is called Stoicism. And they have also the similar definition what Lord Krishna has given us in Bhagavad Gita. And they say the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feeling and without complaint. Here is without complaint. Similarly, Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, stop complaining and do your work. But then how many types of endurance? Basically, there are dharmic endurance and adharmic endurance. Dharmic endurance. But Lord Krishna is explaining Arjuna that go and perform your duty and tolerate whatever you need to tolerate, endure. If somebody die there, if say there are some casualties in the field, you have to learn. Also, it says that do not let your heart not be troubled as a good soldier. It's like playing a sport. Do not get tangled with ordinary things, daily ordinary things. Keep moving forward and learn to let go. Here, the confusion comes. How much should I tolerate? How much should I endure? At what situation I should endure? And when should I stop enduring it? Like Arjuna was confused. First, he didn't want to fight because he was enduring all those things, and nervous and all that. And prior to that, many things have happened to them. They were about to be burned and given poison by Duryodhana and all that. They all tolerated that. But when it came to this Draupadi's event, then their limit gone beyond it. They could not endure anymore. So the point here is until what time we should endure and when we should start not enduring. So whenever there is a situation with the dharma, if somebody invades, for example, invade you, abused you physically, verbally, or if you see something happening to the society and it is against our belief system, or belief system is, again, what is belief system? When it is hurting somebody else, hurting you, hurting somebody, that is a dharma. We should not allow. That's the Gita is all about that. Arjuna wanted to endure, he wanted to run away Himalayas because he wanted to endure all this and let the dharma of Duryodhana carry on. And Lord Krishna says, no, you have to set an example. Similarly, the message to us is we must not tolerate a dharmic endurance. We should stand up for our rights. We should stand up for our society and make a best use of our senses. For example, if we have to go to airport, and if we are going on airport, there will be a lot of attraction on the way. Maybe there is a restaurant and I'm hungry. My tongue says, let's stop by. And at one time I did that. I was so hungry, so much hungry and so much craving for particular food. And I was on my way to airport and we stopped. By the time we went to airport, I missed the flight. So I was controlled by my tongue and my stomach. Similarly, when we have some goal, we cannot achieve it because sometimes problem happens and somebody might say, or we might get fearful. So our self-esteem is not, our self-confidence is not there, or somebody says this is a difficult job. So we start listening to other people. This is where our ears, our hearing comes. Sometimes we say something which is also contradictory to our goal, what we are trying to achieve. And so many things will come through our senses, the messages, but we should not be tangled with that. That's what it says. Let your heart not be troubled. As a good soldier, focus on your goal. Continue to do that. And here, again, reminder is must not tolerate a dharma, but we must know what is the difference between dharma and adharma. And here Deepak Chopra also says, the mindset is liberating and is at the core of our being human. And it is all starts with you. So we are the carrier. We have to perform our duty. And sometimes it comes like having compassion, tolerance, endurance is a sign of weakness. And Lord Krishna says, no, it is a sign of strength. And this is a beautiful quote by Dalai Lama as well. So we have to pray. So we should not just pray for me to get out of the situation, but pray for the strength and tolerance. In other words, what many times difficult times come in our situation. So instead of praying that please take me out of this situation, of course we want to do that, but we should have a faith in God that God is with us, and we should always pray to give me the enough strength and wisdom to deal with it. So what are the benefits of endurance? Good example is Buddha, Siddhartha. He became from Siddhartha to Buddha by knowing that everything else in the world is temporary. And then he gives a beautiful lesson before he died, because his cousin asked him, give me the wisdom while you are living right now. Because his cousin was always with him, and he always kind of had a very egoistic behavior that I am with Buddha. Buddha is my brother. And he was so much pumped up with ego that he missed many messages from Buddha. And Buddha was about to die. He declared that he's going to leave his body. Then his cousin tells him, please give me the last advice. And that's where the last advice was. Everything is temporary. Move on, move on, move on. Which is later on turned out to be their meditation, which is called Vipassana. But here, the endurance and tolerance leads to self-improvement. We become more mature, we become more understanding, develop more understanding. And then we start gradually transform ourselves. We become more calmer, more self-control ourselves, more persistent, which is called steadfastness in Bhagavad Gita. And we become more San Shakti wale. Start more focusing more on our goals, become more tolerant. So by self-transformation, all this happens little by little, and we become healthy, happy, and peaceful. And not only we have the peaceful life for ourselves, and also we portray that everywhere we go, and ultimately experience Satchit Ananda, which is in the next verse, where Lord Krishna says, who develops the endurance qualifies for self-salvation, for realizing me, who I am, and you will realize also who you are. So it's the time for our Sankalpa. Today is our Series 5. But first 4 verses, just wanted to remind you what were our Sankalpa. When we started, our very first Sankalpa was new of me. We are on this journey together. And step by step, we will transform through teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And contemplating, and not only teachings, this session is especially for applying in daily life. So Sankalpa is for us to practice, practice, practice. And by little, with Sankalp Prabhavan, little by little, we will graduate, going from one grade to the next grade to the next grade. So our goal was to transform and every day become new and newer person. And then the Sankalpa 2 was, I am Arjuna, I am wise, I'm not a Dhritarashtra, I'm not the complainer, I am the one, I'm the Arjuna who listens to my teacher, Lord Krishna, follows his advice and act upon it. Karishye vachanam tav. And Sankalpa 3 was, I am awakened. Now I experience it. And then number 4 was, I am eternal. Yes, I am everlasting because I'm Atma. Body will shed off, cast off, but the Atma is still carries on. So today's Sankalpa is, I endure. So we have to learn the difference between when to endure and when not to endure. When is our dharmic responsibility to endure this divine endurance? And when not to endure, but to take a action. So thank you very much for this session, Gateway to Divine Endurance, and how to be happy, healthy, and lead to peaceful life, anandam in daily life. So now we will go for meditation. Take our sankalpa further. I am eternal and I endure.